Welcome from America with Eamon. We back again, and we have a guest, a special guest, Mr. Mark Ivanyu, the Executive Director of National Republican for Renewal. Mark, I'm happy to be here with me today in my show, and we will talk about the debate. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being with me today.
Hey, it's my pleasure, Eamon. Thank you for having me.
So I know it's a lot of topics we need to cover today about the debate, and I remember when we talk over the phone about it's very sensitive topics. The debate, it's a lot of people say we will go with this side, we will go with that side. We will be fair, and we will try to make like a fair analysis about the debate. From your point of view as a politician and executive director for Republican National Republican for Renewal, the most sensitive topic they talk about and make the people like. It's the people who start debate about this. It's the baby abortion. So how do you evaluate this topic between the former president Donald Trump and the vice president Kamala Harris? How do you evaluate them? They both talk in different ways.
I agree, and thank you for the introduction. I do try to do my best to be objective. Obviously, you can tell by my American flag in the background. I am a pro-Trump. I am America first. But of course, you have to be honest with yourself, and so that's where providing a fair and objective analysis is helpful. Mm-hmm. And I think there's two sides of this issue. For President Trump, when he's appealing to all voting citizens in the country, he maybe doesn't want, as a matter of strategy, to come out and say, yes, I'm in favor of a full federal ban on abortion with a few exceptions, even though he might actually believe that. And I believe he has been the most pro-life president in our history, and definitely in our lifetime. He's the only sitting U.S. president who attended the March for Life rally in Washington, D.C. So he's certainly pro-life. I don't think there's a question about that. But the left tries to use it against him by saying, well, he's so pro-life, he wants to take away your supposed right to murder your unborn child, to abortion. And so you should come out and vote against him. So that's their rallying cry. And it's been very successful for the Democrats over the years. Mm-hmm. Once they put that message out there, their radical leftists, usually single women, will come out in droves. Even if they themselves would never get an abortion, mm-hmm. they want to support it, so they'll come out and vote against him. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, conservatives and President Trump did this very nicely in the debate. He said, well, these people are so radical, so pro-abortion, that they believe in abortion up to the 9th month of pregnancy, or even right after birth. And so
this is killing, actually. This is not abortion. This is killing.
Right. Yeah. By most normal people's standards, that is killing. And even your average American who might support abortion, they still support it up to a certain time frame, usually 3 months, maybe in some cases 4, but usually almost never does an American who even is pro-abortion, are they going to support it in the 8th month, 9th month, and especially not after birth. And so that's a good strategy that President Trump put forward during the debate. I think President Trump's campaign is probably doing their best to avoid the topic completely. It's not really helpful for them if they talk about it, because their base, they know what their base wants, and they agree with their base. But to get other voters who may not necessarily agree with all the issues, they're sensitive about that one. So it's better to not really talk about it a whole lot. So I've been to different events and spoken at different events, and people have asked me, well, why should we support Trump when he's not that strong on pro-life? And I had to correct them. Well, actually, in actions, he is very strong. In words, he's not as strong, and I think he's being smart and trying to launch his campaign correctly, especially when he's trying to appeal not just to a red district like you would in Texas. Say you have a district that's votes Republican the vast majority of time. Well, then, of course, you could say, I want a full ban on abortion. and they're going to support you and vote for you. But if you're trying to get voters from the whole country, you have to be a little more tempered. And
Yeah.
again, I don't think that's going to have an effect on when he actually gets into office. What he's going to do, I think, is going to be very pro-life. But I think the messaging has been changed to appeal to voters, or at the very least, to not encourage or entice the radical left to come out and vote.
Yeah, and also I realized this. He for if we move to the next topic, which is the inflation and the economy, he was so clear in this. We are in the worst inflation since the Great Depression. So how do you evaluate the Trump program versus the Harris program, or we will say like the Republican economy, or the Republican program, or the for fixing the economy versus the Democratic program to fixing the economy? Like how do you think, because I see Trump said to Kamala Harris, you have nothing to offer, you have nothing to bring to the table. So do you think this is how you evaluate this?
Right. Well, I think it's when answering that question, it's best to start from the average American voter, the person who's not really that involved in politics. They'll go and vote, but they don't really watch the news very often. If they do, it's maybe one big headline here and there. What they know is what affects them, right? Usually in their wallet. That's what affects us the most. Even whether or not you're politically involved, when you go to the grocery store and things cost more, when you go to the gas station, now you're thinking, hey, I don't know much about politics, but I don't like this. And so I've seen a lot of man on the street interviews where the average American citizen is asked, who do you want in office? Who are you going to vote for? They'll say Trump. And then when they're asked why, the first thing they say is, hey, things were cheaper back then. Or, hey, I made more money back then, so I want him back in. And they say, okay, what else do you know about the other side? I don't really know. I don't follow that stuff, but I know Trump was getting the job done. He's the man we need. And so that's what people understand. The average American understands. Obviously, President Trump is pro-business. He's ran a very successful business. So the experience is already there. It just kind of makes sense that he would know how to run a government, which is very much like a business. Whereas the Democrats, it seems like, I'm not sure what their economic plan is. I think they've discussed bringing jobs back, but those are jobs that were there until the governments were shut down during COVID, and then those jobs rebounded, but they're not actually creating jobs. And I think they'll maybe discuss opening up more government jobs, more jobs in the energy sector, the green energy sector. The problem with that is if you're opening up more government jobs, you're just expanding the government system in general, but you're also increasing waste. Most government departments aren't very efficient. They'll keep people on the payroll even though they're just maybe working 3 hours a day, but they'll pay them time. So it's just a huge waste of money. But to them, that's creating jobs, right? It's government jobs.
I think it's only not about creating job. It's easy to say I will do this. Like I remember back in days when Biden campaign, he was talking a lot about the student loan forgiveness, and nothing happened. And I remember when after the first break, when they back from the break, Mr. President Donald Trump, he said, "What about the student loan forgiveness? Did you do anything in this?" They do nothing. They just like say we will do so. From my point of view, I don't think like they have a clear plan for fixing the economy. And if they have a plan, why don't they fix it in the last 4 years?
Well, the irony is that was a plan, but it was a failed plan. It got struck down by the courts as soon as they tried to implement it.
So also I can see this also in the if we move to the one of the hottest topics in this debate, which is let me combine this together, which is the immigration and borders, because they are connected to each other. So usually the problem in borders we have here, especially we are here in Texas or in the coast, the borders problem very connected to the immigration because it's illegal immigration coming. So From your point of view as a viewer and as a politician, how do you see, how can you evaluate the dealing with those two files from the Republican side and from the Democratic side?
Right. So and I think actually that connection, the illegal immigration, the economy, and the borders are all connected.
Yeah.
So when you have an influx of people who are non-citizens coming in, taking advantage of the welfare system, taking up jobs, et cetera, you're going to hamper the economy. You're going to reduce wages for working Americans, working class Americans. And so I think it's all, the border is basically, when you have control of that, you have a funnel. So only certain people can come in. Maybe there's a big line, but you have a very slowed flow of immigrants. Whereas when it's wide open, it's just no control whatsoever. And so that's going to obviously impact the everyday American. And again, that's what I was telling you the other day, earlier, is Americans, even if they don't follow politics, they care about what affects them. And that's their wallet, their money. When you see emergency rooms being flooded by illegal immigrants, they go to the emergency room. Now they have to wait for hours and hours to get treatment. Welfare systems get stretched out. They become slower, less efficient. Schools, there's a lot of illegal children in schools who don't speak English, so they have to set up a program to teach them English. And so now it's holding back the American citizens who are ready to learn more, but now they're at a lower learning rate because they have illegal immigrants' children there with them. And so it really affects the country, I think, far more than probably most people realize. It's kind of a cascading effect, a domino effect, that when you get 40, 60 million non-citizens, we already have a very generous legal immigration program. But the illegal immigration program, when you have no one stopping it or controlling it, you really can't last as a country for very long. And at least the way we live right now won't be the same at this rate in the next 2 years, right? The country's just going to continue to go down the drain. And so I think that's probably paramount. That's what got President Trump elected in 2016, was that he talked about immigration and the border wall. And so the fact that even his presence alone in office, remember when he got into office, he hadn't even built the wall yet. And the illegal immigration cut down was reduced by over 50% because they knew he was in office. And he's talked about when he gets back in office, he'll have a mass deportation team. That's exactly what we need to get the country back on track. Whereas the Democrats, if you recall, and your audience recalls, they said, we want to give free health care to illegal aliens. We want to give them free education. But now Kamala was saying, oh, we're going to take care of the border issue. We're going to secure it. We're going to stop all these illegal immigrants. She's not going to do any of that. We've seen what she's going to do.
Yeah. So I'm totally agree, because if she already have a plan for this, she is a vice president for 4 years. So why she wait? She can do it. She know how like the number was mentioned by former President Donald Trump. He said like about like 11 millions of illegal immigrants they came in the last 4 years. So I think this is
it's more than that, actually.
More than
the moderator said 11 million, and Trump rightfully said no, I think it's a lot more than that.
We
just don't have record of it.
We don't have record because they came like even the illegal immigrants now, they are in shelters. They cost you money because you already have them in shelters and you spend money for them health care, you feed them, you make sure they are safe, you put them in the shelters until you take a decision if you send it back to them countries or you will allow them to go inside the system. So some of them country like Venezuela, they refused to receive them. They said, if you send them back, we will kill them. So now you have a big problem with one of the countries. They don't need them people. So I think Trump he know how to handle this, because he already actually started the project of building the wall between the States and Mexico. And also he have a vision for fixing the immigration system, because our immigration system still have some problems. I would say this is not only the issue we have now, because also we have two hot topics, which is the wars outside the states we are involved in, like Hamas, Israel, Russia, Ukraine. And I want to hear from you, how do you evaluate this, especially the current president, Joe Biden, he sent tons of money outside of the states during the last 4 years. So do you think Kamala Harris, she can fix some of these problems if she get elected, if she have a program, or Donald Trump, if he get, because he said he can stop this from the first day. So how you evaluate this two hot topics?
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think Kamala would fix the problem. I think she'd escalate it. In her mind and her radical leftist ideologues' minds, Russia's the enemy, and she said just as much. And she wants to see Ukraine win the war.
Yeah.
And you might wonder, well, what does that mean, win? To normal people, win means just the war stopped and people aren't killing each other. And maybe Russia has a little bit more of Ukraine, but not too much. To her, winning would be Ukraine just destroys Russia, which we know isn't going to happen. So I'm not optimistic that she would ever fix that issue. I think she would just push us more towards war and probably even get us involved, which is what President Trump has been warning about, World War III. I think, personally, I don't think we should have given any money to the Ukraine. But I think the average American, whether conservative or maybe a moderate liberal, at first they were okay with I think it was the first $50 billion to Ukraine. But when they saw 25 more billion and then they saw another 50 billion, they started getting tired of it. They thought, why do we keep giving? I mean, it's almost like it's monopoly money. It's fake money. We're setting so much money there. What's it even worth? And so now it's at a point people are exhausted about it. I've talked to my friends abroad in Hungary, Germany, as part of our international mission, and they're also tired of it. They want to see peace. And I know that President Putin has offered peace. America, through Joe Biden, has declined. They said, no, we're not interested. We're going to keep going. Even if Ukraine might have been interested, I don't know. But we know that someone on our side told them, no, keep going. We're not interested in peace. So when President Trump gets into office, I think we would have peace within days. I think President Putin himself said so. He said, well, if President Trump was in power, yeah, the war would end pretty fast. I don't think that means we're going to go in and start bombing people, but I think President Trump is one of the best negotiators around, and he would negotiate some kind of peace deal. In regard to Hamas and Israel, I think it was a very unexpected attack. I don't think it would have ever happened if President Trump was in office. I did hear some questions, or I mean, maybe some questions where former Israeli military officers were asking, how did this attack happen? That area is very secure. We have drones flying around there. You can see anything that comes into the area. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. I don't want to get too deep into conspiracies or anything, but there's a lot of interesting things surrounding that conflict. And from my understanding now, Israel is doing pretty well. But either way, I think regardless if President Trump once he gets back into office, there will be peace there somehow or another, because I think President Trump is just committed to stopping the needless death of other people in other countries, Americans, and especially Americans, because if that conflict continues, there is a chance that now we're sending Americans over there to fight in someone else's war. And I don't think most Americans are in favor of that. Even some of the Democrats probably don't want to send Americans over there to fight a war, which is essentially for another country, whether it's Ukraine, Israel, or Taiwan.
Yeah, great. So I think we covered the whole debate topics, but I want to hear from you overall. If you want to give like a weight for every for each one out of 5. So as a viewer, I will talk now with Mark Ivanu as a viewer, not as a politician. So if you give a rate for the debate for Trump and Harris out of 5, so how you evaluate them?
On a scale of 1 to 5, that's
It's
a tough
hard. I
question.
know it's
It's very,
hard.
it's one, yeah.
I don't tell you I will ask you this. I just keep it like for
Yeah.
it just come in my mind now.
On on one hand, it seems like it was Trump against three people.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was a very fair debate. But I think Kamala was well prepared. She might have had an earbud telling her what to say in her earrings, but either way, she sounded composed, much better than when you watch her do interviews. She's stumbling around. She's talking like a 5-year-old. She's not making a lot of sense. She's not very coherent. But when it came to
Like,
the debate, she was,
she doing
yeah,
that.
yeah, the debate, she seemed pretty sharp, surprisingly. So
Yeah.
I think she did pretty well. Probably for the average person, the average viewer probably thought, if they don't know about the facts, they don't care about the ideology, they're just looking at the presentation. Probably 3.5 or 4 out of 5. Probably 4 out of 5. Yeah, I think people would say she did surprisingly well. For President Trump, probably he might have done slightly worse in the public perception if someone's not politically involved, because he got fact checked a lot. She didn't really get fact checked. She lied and lied and lied and continued to lie. Nobody said anything except for Trump. And so I think that gives a perception that Trump didn't do as well. And so based on that, I would say probably 3.5.
Even from me as a viewer, like I have a little bit of understanding of the body languages. So usually when you are lying, you're always looking to the people. Most of the time, if you watch the debate again, most of the time she's looking to Trump. She's looking to the camera, except a few times when she looked to the camera, speak like directly to the audience. But most of the time when she talk, even she talk when he talk, she's looking to him. When she talks, she's looking to him. So most of the time she just like, I am lying. Are you believing me? So that's why my feeling and my understanding about the people's psychology.
Yeah. What would you rank it?
Yeah.
What rating would you give the
Me?
debate? Yeah, each person.
I would go with you. I would say she take a 4 because she is more prepared, and I will not give 3.5 to Trump. I will give him 3 because he repeat himself a lot. He know the facts, but he just need to prepare himself more.
Yeah, I think he wandered off into other topics too. That's a good point. That he instead of kind of staying focused and narrowed, he kind of came over here, then back here, and was moving around with the topics.
Yeah, just keep focused on the topic. We'll get. We don't know if maybe there's another debate. They don't say anything yet. They don't mention anything yet, but definitely if there's another debate, we will meet again. We will try to put a spotlight on the debate and try to tell the people who's watching us all over the country, even the people who's watching my show around the world, because I know there's a lot of folks that are watching me from the Middle East, because usually I'm running my show in Arabic. So there's a lot of folks that are watching me from Egypt, Syria, Algeria, Israel, Yemen. A lot of people they're watching me. Even the American who speak Arabic, they're watching me, and most of them they understand what we are saying now. So I will be happy if there's another debate and I can see the stronger Donald Trump who's talking, because he have the facts, but he don't know how to present it.
Right.
That's what I'm understand.
And if no debate, maybe we could just discuss the election right beforehand.
Exactly. Of course. Mark, I'm very happy. Actually, I know how your time is very limited, especially with your duty and missions you're doing around the country. So I'm very happy to be with me today, to find the time to my show. And again, before I wrap the conversation, I want to thank Mr. Mark Evanu, the executive director for the Republican for the National Republican for Renewal, right? Did I say it right?
It's a mouthful. It's Republicans for National Renewal.
Republican for National, yes. Thank you so much for being with me today, and thank you for everyone watching my show today. Don't forget your like, your share, your subscription. If your subscription if this is your first time to watching me. So this is the channel of From America with Ayman, and my name is Ayman Amir. Thank you so much for being with us today, and God bless all of you. God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Eamon. God bless you and your viewers as well.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
You too.